Hi everyone, my name is Allison Sawyer and I am presenting on metacognitive theory. The metacognitive theory is a part of the constructivist lens. According to Tracy and Morrow, constructivists believe that learning occurs when individuals integrate new knowledge with existing knowledge. It also views learning as a natural occurring process. Metacognitive theory, as described in our textbooks, is the process of thinking about one's own thinking. The concept of metacognition, when applied to the field of reading, contributes to a constructivist understanding of how reading comprehension occurs, as well as to a body of knowledge regarding instructional strategies that can be used to facilitate reading comprehension. Tracy Morrow, 2017, page 65. In terms of reading comprehension, the metacognitive theory focuses on the use of instructional strategies to help students better understand what they are reading. When explicitly teaching students strategies, this also helps them better understand the reading process. The goal here is to help students become independent when using these strategies. But what is metacognition? Metacognition is thinking about your own thinking. It's a process of awareness of your learning and being able to independently apply strategies while reading to maximize comprehension. It is also the process of reflecting back on what was taught to ensure you fully understand what was being taught. Below is a YouTube button. Click there to learn more about metacognition. Now, Dolores Durkin is not a key researcher in metacognition theory, but her work essentially created a response from Flavel, who was a key researcher. According to Tracy and Morrow, Durkin believed that the technique teachers use most often to develop reading comprehension, the directed reading lesson, was not effective in promoting students' ability to independently comprehend text. This creates very teacher-dependent students when it comes to reading text. With this information found by Durkin, Flavel began researching for ways to build more independent readers. So John H. Flavel is an educator and psychologist. He was the main reason that developmental psychology shifted in the U.S. His most famous contribution to the field is his work on children's developing understanding of the distinction between appearance and reality. His other works include children's developing understanding of perception, perspective taking, and their introspective insight into their own subjective experiences. In terms of metacognition, he coined the term in 1976. Flavel says this about metacognition. Metacognition refers to one's knowledge concerning one's own cognitive process or anything related to them. For example, the learning relevant properties of information or data. For example, I am engaging in metacognition if I notice that I am having trouble learning A, then B. If it strikes me that I should double check C before accepting it as a fact. Flavel, 1976. One of Flavel's relevant publications is called Cognitive Development, which focuses on both the nature of one's thinking and the change in work in this area. When it comes to metacognition, there's a process that is followed. Plan, monitor, evaluate. When we plan, we set goals and think about what we should know and have learned by the end. Figure out which strategies you will use, decide how you will take information in, and how much time will be spent learning the material. The next step in the process is monitoring. When we monitor, we check for comprehension. Ask yourself these questions. Am I learning what I need to be learning? Am I staying focused? What strategies am I using? Are they working? Should I try other ones? The final step is evaluation. This is a time for reflection. What worked well? What didn't work well? Can you try something else for next time? Is there confusion? How or where can I go to get clarity? Here is a video about teachers discussing metacognition in the classroom. I won't play it, but I suggest going into my PowerPoint and watching the video to see the role metacognition plays in the classroom. The goal of metacognitive instruction is to have readers become more aware of their thinking during the reading process. Teachers can do this by doing two things: providing students with explicit instruction on the metacognitive strategies and gradually transferring or releasing responsibility. When it comes to explicit instruction, it is important for teachers to provide clear, organized, and clear details about the strategy. In addition, teachers should model the strategy, showing students when to use the strategy, how to use the strategy, and why the strategy is used. Then teachers move to the gradual release. This is when teachers begin releasing responsibility from the teacher to students. After the explicit instruction and modeling, they go through a guided phase until students are able to independently use the strategy. We see metacognition theory in many of our classrooms. You may be using it and not even know it. Here are a few examples. A KWL chart. What do I know about the topic? What do I want to know about the topic? And what did I learn about the topic? Checklist. I, and I'm sure many of you, use checklists for students as they are writing. This allows them to self-monitor themselves as they move through the writing process. A strategy matrix. This allows students to see the strategies, how to use them, when to use them, and what to use them for. Exit tickets. These allow students to check for understanding. This also allows them to decide if there are any misconceptions or confusions that they can have cleared up. Here is a chart of the pros and cons of the metacognition theory. As you can see, the pros outweigh the cons. Metacognition fosters high-level thinking in the classroom and within students. It allows them to independently use strategies to become better readers. It gives readers more awareness of their use of strategies and comprehension. And finally, it ultimately maximizes their learning. According to Tracy and Morrow, not only has research demonstrated the effective use of metacognitive strategies by good readers, but it's also constantly shown that poor readers have far less metacognitive awareness than their higher achieving peers, and that young readers have less such awareness than older readers. Page 69. The only con really affects us as teachers because we cannot measure or observe the use of metacognition. Metacognition has played a big role in education today. Students are now thinking at higher levels. It has shifted students from teacher-dependent learners to become independent learners. They have become more self-aware and are now able to take control of their own learning. Students are getting a deeper understanding of materials and reading comprehension. Finally, students are given a toolbox with strategies that can allow them to become problem solvers. Here is my reference page, and thank you for listening.